Alright, so we have already done percentage in speed maths, how to calculate and all. But to solve percentage questions in CAT, we need to have a deeper understanding. Percent, as we all know, is basically division by 100. So 5% would mean 5 by 100, which in decimal terms would mean 0.05. Normally we use three methods for solving questions of percentage in CAT. The three methods are fraction method, which we have already touched upon in the speed maths. You can refer to speed maths videos for better understanding of this. Decimal method and hundreds method. Let's touch upon each one in succession. Let's start with the fraction method. Let's take an example. Say a number is increased by 25%. Let the number be x. So if it is increased by 25%, we can write it as 25% of x, which can be written as 125 by 100 of x, which is equal to 5 by 4 of x, right? Now we know that 25% is 1 by 4, right? That is what we learn in speed maths calculation. Now let's try to relate this information with what we just derived here. 25% means 1 out of 4. So if you increase by 25%, that basically means 4 has been increased by 1. 4 has been increased by 1 and will become 5. Now this is in terms of ratio, and this is the realization. If you understand this, almost half of arithmetic becomes a lot easier. That percentage ratio, all are basically 1, brother of the same mother. So basically it means that if the original number was 4, I increase it by 25%, which is 1, and therefore the number ends up becoming 5. So ratio of old number, increase, and new number will be 4, 1, 5. Now say if there is a question like this, by what percentage do I need to decrease the new number so that I get back the old number? Therefore the answer is very evident to us. If you look at this, I need to decrease my old number by 1 to get back to 4. So percentage decrease in that case would be 1 by 5, which is equal to 20%. Right? We understand this? Yeah? For example, say, if there is a question like this, increase of 20%, decrease of 33.33%, increase of 40%, increase of 25%, decrease of 50%. What is the overall change in the number? So increase of 20% means 1 out of 5. So the number will become 6 from 5. How do we write it? We write it as 6 by 5. Decrease of 33.33% means 33.33% is 1 by 3, which means number will decrease by 1 out of 3. If the number was 3, it will decrease by 1 and become 2. How do we write this? We write it as 2 by 3. Increase of 40%. 40% is 40 by 100, which is 2 by 5. So it means number will increase 2 out of 5. If 5 increases by 2, it becomes 7. So we can write it as 7 by 5. Increase of 25% means 1 out of 4, which means the number will become 5 by 4. 50% is 1 by 2, which means decrease of 1 out of 2. So if 2 is decreased by 1, it becomes 1, right? Therefore, this would become 1 by 2. Now if we solve this, we get our answer. For example, say, okay. So what do we end up with here? 7 by 10. So if the number was 10, it has become 7. So the number has become 70% of what it was, right? If the number was 7, if the number was 10, it has become 7, which means if I again write it in this format, old number 10, change -3, new number 7. So change is decrease of 30%, The new number is 70% of its original value. Now, if the question is, by what percentage should I increase my new number so that it becomes the old number? Answer will be 3 by 7 or 42.85%. Alright? Okay. Now let's come to the decimal method. Decimal method, we'll just understand how do we represent it and all. For example, we saw here that 5% is equal to 5 by 100, which is equal to 0.05. Right? Just an extension of that, say 17%. So 17% is equal to 17 by 100, which is equal to 0.17. Okay. Now say a number is increased by 17%. X plus 17 by 100 of x will become 117 by 100 x, which is equal to 1.17x. Okay. Now this is enough to help us learn how do we write the percentage change, increase or decrease in terms of decimal. For example, decrease of 23%. If I decrease 100 by 23, it becomes 77. So if the original number was x, I can write it as 0.77x. Original number, new number. Say if it's given increase of 20% followed by decrease of 25%. Let the original number be x. If I increase it by 20%, now we know that the number will become 1.2x. What is 25% of 1.2 or 12 or 120, whichever way you want to look at it? Decimal can be easily adjusted. So 25% of 1.2x is equal to 0.3x. If I decrease 1.2x with 0.3x, I'll get 0.9x. So my original number was x, my new number is 0.9x. And I'm sure we understand by now that 0.9x means 90% of x. So the number has been decreased by 10%. Right? Now let's come to the final method, which is hundredth method. We call it a hundredth method. This is the method which is most commonly used because it does not require any conceptual understanding, knowledge of maths. It basically requires your common sense. And this is the method which we normally use in our daily life also. For example, say if we know that say price of something has increased by 20%, then we straight away understand the fact that if the original price was 100, increase of 20% means the new price is 120. This is something we all understand very well. Now if again 120 increases by 25%, so we know 25% increase, so the new number will become 150, because we have to increase 120 by its 25% or 1/4 of 120 or 30, so 150. So this method often comes in handy when we have to do quick calculation. Normally when we don't have to find exact numbers, but we have to compare numbers. For example, say if it's given that a number, let's say population increases by 20% every year, when will it double? Which means after how many years will it double? When will it double? After how many years will it double? So this is the kind of method which can come in very handy, because we have to do a rough calculation when will 100 cross 200. For example, initially it's 100, after 1 year 120, another increase of 20%, 144, 20% of 144 would be 28.8, so this would be roughly 172.8, 20% of this would be around 34.56, which means it would be around 207.34. Right? We don't even need to do this exact calculation. Roughly after this we understand that the next increase will take it beyond 200, which is sufficient for us to answer that the number will double itself in how many years? 1, 2, 3, 4 years. Fourth year the number will double. This is the kind of method which comes in really handy when we have to do such quick calculations and all. Alright, okay. Now we'll understand this in more detail when we go to the video of percentage changes and all. Alright, thank you.